What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room yet again. And this is where we at. So we're talking about toxic relationships. And as you clearly see, what's going on in the broadcast right here. I have this young lady right here. She's going to speak. And then we have others that are going to talk about this toxic dynamic that, saying women like from men. And to be honest with you, when I lived a different lifestyle back in the day, I see the difference because in my early 20s, I'm 42 now. In my early 20s, I was a different type of young man back then. I moved different. I was engaged in a lot of different things, definitely street life and stuff like that. And I see the difference in the way that I used to talk and engage and all types of things with women back then and versus now. So it is a difference. It is a difference, and it's just the truth. So we're gonna go here now, and we're gonna see the dynamics of the situation. You know what I'm saying? So let's go here now and put these quarters, nickels, and dimes in on the times.
Why don't anybody ever talk about like how hard it is to be in like a healthy relationship? Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about all the trauma that will come up testing your patience from what you thought you healed. A healthy relationship will trigger that, baby, and say, hey, have you really dealt with this? Are you really healed? Is your communication skills really as good as you think they are now? Baby, I feel like it's harder being in a healthy relationship than a toxic one. I really have to take accountability for my bullshit. Well, you didn't in a toxic relationship. Yeah, I learned to be a big girl. Put my big girl panties on.
Yo, and these are just the facts. These are the facts, and she said it herself. And it's good to actually let women talk and hear what they really have to say. Just let them talk. I'm telling you now, they're going to tell you everything that you need to know. Definitely as a man, you know what I'm saying? And real talk, I've seen it with my own two eyes throughout my years of engagement, you know what I'm saying? Being, from actually in being engaged in street life with certain types of women and stuff like that. And then also too, even the women that you won't think that, would engage with those type of men, they do engage. And it's wild out here. You're definitely coming to this age now. And you know what I'm saying, seeing the things that I've saw, in my younger years with women. And yeah, man, they're all over it. They're all over it. So we're gonna go here now and we're going to check this one out from this young lady and see what she has to say about the situation as far as, women liking toxic men. Let's go here now.
Here are 7 reasons why some women stay in unhealthy relationships. This is part 2. If you're busy, please save because you're going to want to hear this. Number 2, unresolved childhood trauma. If you grew up in a home that was unstable or abusive, then that type of dysfunctional environment is going to feel familiar to you. But even though that type of environment is dangerous, you subconsciously will be drawn to it because that is what you've known. The only thing you've known your entire life is dysfunction. Your childhood home was dysfunctional. You saw your mom being mistreated by your dad, or you grew up in spaces where everyone was always arguing and fighting, and that became the norm. So if that is your normal, then you see nothing wrong with it. And without realizing, that's the type of boyfriends that you gravitate towards. You're so used to being in fight or flight that if someone gives you calmness, peace, if someone treats you with respect, you find that person boring. You're used to shouting and yelling. You're used to being aggressive. When you're having disagreements with someone, you're used to going up in their face. You're used to people putting their hands on you. That's all you've known. So now when you're seeking a partner, you're looking for that type of toxic person who's going to always be arguing, fighting, or having this type of like a relationship where you fight and then you make up. You get a thrill from that shit. So you seek out people who are constantly going to keep you in the fight or flight survival state. Peace is unfamiliar. Hell, you're used to that. You would prefer a familiar hell than an unfamiliar heaven. How do you fix that? Again, you have to reprogram your mind. Until you break that trauma bond, you will continue to seek out the same energy in different bodies. You're going to have to reprogram your nervous system as well, because your nervous system has been wired for chaos. You have to do the inner work. And all of this is going to take time, but it is worth it. So stick around for part 3 or click the link in the playlist.
Listen, look, she told the truth right then. It is what it is, though. And that's what's going on. That's what's going on. And it works both for men and women out here. The thing of this is, if you brought up in a chaotic situation, stuff like that, and I'm not saying every family's perfect. No, you know what I'm saying? No family's perfect, period. You know, but the thing of this is that, you know, the teachings of stability should overwhelm the chaos in the family. But the thing of this is in today's society, a lot of chaos overwhelming the stability. And this is where we at right here. This is the reason why, you know what I'm saying, a lot of young ladies and also young men are here, you know what I'm saying, choosing chaotic people to be around and be with. And, you know what I'm saying, they're creating other human beings within that chaos and stuff like that. And this is posing the problem, the reason why we have these individuals out here that are also, engaging in chaos. And families can't be built in chaos. Families cannot sustain in instability and things like that. And it's not going to work. It's not going to work at all, because, you know what I'm saying, like, to have that instability, man, Jesus Christ, is, there's no way for peace to happen. But the thing of this is yes, that, like this young lady just said, out of all that chaos and stuff like that, it's no way that you grow up and want stability unless you are actually, doing your due diligence to change yourself. You got to change yourself. You got to change yourself in order to, get better. And that's just how it's going to go. So we're going to go here now and we're going to keep going. Let's check this out.
And you know what? I don't like to date my type of guy anymore because I feel like it's really boring because he treats me so good. When you get treated good, it's kind of like boring, and don't hate me, but I do love toxic. I like somebody who, like, I don't mean mistreats me in a bad way, but you know what I mean?
You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. It writes itself. She don't like the nice guy. She don't like the good guy. He's boring. She know exactly what you're going to do. You're going to treat her right. Most women, they need you to feed their emotions. They're emotional beings. And this is why most women, especially young women, but some older women, but most women go for the bad guy, go for the toxic guy, go for the unstable mental guys. Because not only is he going to have different women around, which is always fun for most women, but he might put his hands on her. He might choke her up. He might call her out her name, disrespect her. A lot of women into that. Why? I don't know. Gotta ask them. I just call it how I see it.
Now, I agree with him on certain aspects of the situation, you know what I'm saying, that most women do like the toxic men and stuff like that. Now, all the grabbing up and stuff like that, it kind of, to some degree, it kind of makes sense. I've, had women to say that, like if a man doesn't, do those types of things and stuff like that, she feels like he doesn't love her. And, these are things that have been told to my face. And I'm like, listen, look, that's not the case. Like, that's just crazy. At the same time, though, too, if you're the type of man that's not into that type of stuff, you definitely need to get away from, women that think like that, because that is highly dangerous. And, for your life, her life, and everything, and everybody involved, that's highly dangerous. So, yes, don't deal with those types of individuals. Yeah, they go for both, men and women. If you're the, if a woman meets a dude that, he thinks that, fighting is great in his relationship and stuff like that, as a woman, you need to get away from him. Seriously. But this is the thing here, though, that toxic spirit is something that's very intoxicating, and this is the reason why we having these issues out here, dealing with women that want to deal with the bad boys and stuff like that, and they trying to maybe change the man into what they want, but in their whole heart and spirit, once this shit really breaks down, you know what I'm saying, and they happen to maybe get that man to change at certain points and stuff like that, then they tend to get bored with said man, because now they've come to this point, as a woman, it's like, okay, I've conquered this man, now it's time for me to conquer another, like
What the French toast is there to think about?
and this is the mindset. This is the toxic mindset of the situation. So let's go here now and see what this gentleman has to say as well.
Women love toxic men and they'll never admit it, but it's the truth. Every single time you hear about a girl getting back with her ex-boyfriend, it's always, oh, she's back with her asshole toxic ex. It's never, oh, she's back with her sweetheart, nice guy ex-boyfriend. Never. I used to think the saying nice guys finish last was a lie, but it is 100% the truth. The sad reality is if you're too nice of a guy, you treat her well, you never fight, you let her walk all over you, she's going to get bored and move on. I was watching the new Sydney Sweeney movie, and the Glenn Powell guy asked her, why did you break up with him? He seems like a great guy. And she said, because we never fought. As soon as she said that line, I'm like, that is the most real thing I've ever heard. Once again, they won't admit it, but women love the emotional roller coaster. I was talking to a friend one time, and he hadn't talked to a girl in like 3 or 4 months, and he was on a date getting drinks with another girl, and he ran into the first girl for the first time in months. They made eye contact, didn't say hi, and guess who he gets a call from that night? The first girl. Everyone says that men love the chase because men will literally admit that they love the chase, but women love the chase way more. If a woman sees a guy out with another girl and she has talked to that guy before, it instantly makes her want him way more. If the talking stage or the relationship is toxic, it's an emotional roller coaster, there's some fighting, it makes her want him even more. Nice guys literally do finish last because women just get bored.
Right. And these are the factors and stuff like that. And, this is something in today's society that's not being accepted mentally. And be honest with you, though, to make healthy families and stuff like that, it shouldn't be accepted.
And what the French toast is there to think about?
I'm just being real. We talk about these dynamics and stuff like that, where the community needs to build more healthy families and all types of stuff. And I'm talking about every community, whatever shade, white, black, I'm trying to get off all that. All I'm saying is, though, for, the lust factor, because what this really is. Let's break this down. This is what this really is. It's a lust factor, as far as men and women, then men that love toxic women and women that love toxic men. It's also a lust factor, and also too the upbringing and the mindset of how you were brought up and stuff like that. And you have to break out of that if you want better for your life. But some people are not going to do that, and those that do, I commend you. But I'm saying, though, it's just not going to happen unless you want to get out of that type of mindset and better your life and do the things that you need to do in order to, better your life. So let's go here now. Let's check this one out.
A lot of women, they love toxicity. I'm a toxic person. A woman will love that because she's like, we better play this game right quick.
It's exciting for them.
It's adrenaline.
I feel like young women are into that shit though, right?
And older women into it too. Don't know. She got to understand,
Right.
Don't know woman in this day and age wants 100% good person.
Of course not.
What?
A lot of
And that's just the truth. That's the truth. Because a lot of women are into a lot of things in today's society. And for them to get a 100% good man, and vice versa, if a dude that's into a lot of stuff, for him to get a 100% good girl, that's not going to work for them people.
What the French toast is there to think
That's not going to work for them people. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to break this shit all the way down out here. Let's just keep this real out here. If we, for them to do that, like, the toxic people, they're into a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? Not only just being toxic, people and into a lot of, crazy stuff, things like that. Also sexually, they're different and things like that. So to meet these goody two shoes, how, you know, it used to be said, stuff like that, you know, those people are not going to, you know, the goody two shoes, you know, saying, I'm just using this for a phrase, a term right now. The goody two shoes are not going to be able to relate to the toxic people because they're into a lot of different things where the goody two shoes people are not. And that's not going to be compatible, equally yoked, however you want to put it. And it's not going to work because, you know what I'm saying, the goody two shoes people are just not going to want to push that bar the way that the toxic people are okay with pushing the bar. And these are just facts. So, you know, it's not going to work. And, you know, what the equally yoked situation involves is that you are equal in your mind, spirit, soul, and a lot of other aspects of that situation, because no, it's just not going to work if you're not equally yoked. And not long term. It may work for a hot minute to where you're able to have your fun, things like that on both parties. Yeah, but long term, that's not going to work. And that's the reason why a lot of situations and, you know, relationships, stuff like that don't work long term in today's society because everybody's not really equally yoked. You know, it just is what it is. So let's keep going here. Let's see what this young lady has to say. Shout out to her. You know, I do follow her on TikTok, you know, have for a long time. So let's see what she has to say about this.
Men always want to know, why do women go after the bad boys, the men that cheat, the men that are womanizers, right? Even though they say they don't like those type of men. And then women be like, oh my God, why y'all be going after hoes, but y'all swear y'all don't like hoes. This is something that a lot of people just don't want to face the fact of, and it is what it is, but it's got a lot of truth to it. Some of your worst men, some of your most womanizing men are also some of the most charismatic men that you'll ever meet. Right? Talk game be crazy. Like, they be funny, they be hilarious, they be having really good personalities. They're just not good to be in a relationship with. But they be hilarious. They be great men to like be around, right? And that's the reason why they be winning women over. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Offset. Offset can't be faithful to save his life. But when it comes to his personality, he seems to have a very funny, charismatic personality. He seems to be a very like person that you want to be around. Like, he seemed like a cool dude, right? Nobody to be in a relationship with, but personality wise, I could see how Cardi could be attracted to the personality, right? But again, nothing that you want to be in a relationship with. And then when it comes to the women that be 304s, hoes, however you want to say it, quiet as it's kept, they be fun. The hoes be fun. Like, that's,
and I don't dispute that. The hoes do be fun. And that's the same mindset that, you know, a lot of women have too about, you know, saying the thugs and, you know, saying things like that. You know, saying it do be fun if you're in that type of mindset and you're living that type of lifestyle. But the thing of this is that, you know, saying definitely some people after a certain age, they do tend to want to, you know, move past that. Their mental status grows and stuff like that because they've learned new information. They've gathered, you know what I'm saying, new intel, and, you know what I'm saying, there's the mind, spirit, soul, it's starting to change and things like that. You know, it's not that, you know, people can change. People can change. But the problem is that, though, you know what I'm saying, in today's society, some people don't change, but, you know, the ones that do, they, you know, you'll keep running into certain things like this and stuff like that. And people that are not willing to, you know, grow and develop in a different way, yeah, and that makes for tragic relationships.
That's what the men be liking. A lot of times the women who are not as promiscuous, a lot of times men just don't see them as more as fun and outgoing as the hoes be, right?
I mean, that's because, you know what I'm saying, to be honest with you, the women that are not as promiscuous, they shit, man, they're just not as fun in bed.
So what the French toast is there to think
I'm
about?
just gonna be honest with you right here.
You old fish-eyed fool.
I'm just gonna be honest with you. That's what's going on in most of the men's minds, definitely until after they get past a certain age. You know, and the same with the women. The same with the women. You know what I'm saying? They're just not as fun in bed. And after a certain point too, if you dealt with that, you know, for a certain period of time, let's say, you know, you dealt with the streets, you know what I'm saying, or the fun mindset, I'll put it this way, the fun mindset for a certain period of decades. You know, let's say you dealt with that for 2 decades, you know, from early 20s all the way to maybe mid 30s, something like that. And, you know, yeah, it's going to be kind of hard to deal with somebody that, you know, is not as, you know, experienced as you are. And, you know, some may not be willing to learn, some are, but, you know, it's it's a complicated situation.
The hoes be fun. and that's what the men be liking about it. They like how, you know, sporadic they be, how random they are. They got good personalities too. They just hoes. and then that's what you got to understand. 2 things can be true at once. These people can possess good characteristics outside of the things that may not be so appealing, but that's what the attraction is that people like about them, right? The hoes are attractive. They good looking women, right? They just sleep around with a whole bunch of different men. The men, they be charismatic, have really great personalities. Mr. Personality himself, he just can't keep his thing in his pants, right? 2 things can be true at once. They can be great people. They just not great people to be in relationships with. They not great people to take serious. I'm gonna say this last thing before I go. I had a homeboy, right? He was a dog, right? And normally, you know, morally, me being friends with a dude who is like this, the girls that I would meet that he was dogging out, I would tell them, right? I would tell them, like, you know, you ain't like his main girl, right? Like, I would snitch on him all the time. And guess what? He didn't care. He did not care that I was telling the girls what he was saying and doing behind his back. And you know why? Because he knew it wasn't going to stop them from dealing with him. And guess what? It didn't. No matter what he did, no matter what I went back and told those girls, it never stopped them from dealing with him. It
Right.
So what the French toast is there to think about?
And that's just the point of the situation here. You know what I'm saying? Listen, look, definitely in today's society, you know, we're engaging in a lot of different things, the internet, all types of stuff, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, the toxic relationship shit is also what's kind of keeping the healthy families from being together. And it's just the truth. It's just the truth. You can't have a family with a lot of toxicity. Now, I'm not saying families are going to be perfect, but the thing of this is the way that we're moving out here in today's society is like overwhelmingly toxic till it can't be anything healthy at all. And you have to have a healthy mindset and a healthy, you know, way of living and being productive in order to have families, communities, and things like that. So yeah, it just is what it is out here, and there's no way around this. You know, women do like toxic men, definitely till after a certain age, and then too, they still like the toxicity because they're so used to it for so long. Just like the men that have dealt with, you know, that have been toxic and dealt with toxic women their whole life as well. You know what I'm saying? They still too like toxic women. So it's just a whole toxic situation out here. And to have anything healthy, most people nowadays do see that as boring. But the boring life also adds up to a healthy situation to where everybody even has personal health, you know, physically, mentally, and things like that. But, you know, yeah, it's that shit seems boring. But it is what it is, though. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, Please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.